Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
And here's your host, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast, coming through your podcast airwaves on your favorite listening platform. As always, we are here to talk baseball and whatever other silliness pops into our nonsensicalness pops into our head. And we're going to start off with some nonsensicalness this week. We've got, I think actually we have something in around baseball that normally makes Jana very, very happy. And, but I don't think she's going to be very, very happy this week. I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll talk about that. And we got the first of the Freeway series to talk about. Really have something very important to talk about. So let's just get to it. And we'll do that now. So it's all been settled in Omaha. And really, we talked a lot about before anybody got to Omaha, how many SEC teams there were. So just from the numbers, sheer numbers, there was a high probability that at least one SEC team was going to make it. Not surprising when it was two.
Yeah, and not the championship I was hoping for, but still, overall, I think the first game was more exciting, at least from a fan perspective, as someone not rooting for either team. Because they went into innings, it was 4-3.
So bottom line
is,
is,
games.
Well, first let's introduce who made it. Because when we left last time, Wake Forest was still in it.
That's true.
And it was LSU, Florida, Wake Forest. They were all there. Wake Forest all they had to do was win one game to make it to the finals. Florida won and made it to the finals out of their bracket.
Yep.
Who did they beat again?
Who did they beat? Let's see here. Florida had to beat TCU.
All right. And then TCU.
Yes.
Then Florida moved on.
Yes.
And then it was LSU and Wake Forest rematches. They had to play two because LSU beat them the first time. Like I said, Wake Forest had no losses. So all they had to do was win one, and they were going on to take on Florida. I feel like had they made it out of there, they would have beat Florida.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. This one, they had to beat LSU, and it did go 3 games. Wake Forest won the first game 3-2. Then LSU won 5-2. So it was, if the last game was you had to win it to move on, and Wake Forest just could not do anything at the plate, and it was low scoring. It was only 2-0 for LSU, but yeah, they just couldn't get it done. So LSU moves on, and we have ourselves an SEC College World Series.
Percentages were high that could happen. So LSU and Florida, all SEC, not sure who to root for. I had said at the beginning I could root for neither.
Right.
But I will say that I can't stand Florida. So I did root LSU, kind of.
Yeah, I think I was kind of in the same boat. Because like I said last week, in the College World Series, you find a team, you either, like Wake Forest and their story, or it could just be you like their mascot name. Or in my case, I was rooting for Oral Roberts, and it's kind of like they were more of an underdog, but they're also from Oklahoma, and Oklahoma has a very near and dear place in my heart. So I think that's why I went with Oral Roberts. So you always you kind of pick someone. And in this finals, I watched the games, but I wasn't, into it, I think, as much as if I was obviously an LSU or Florida fan.
So LSU comes out in the first game and is able to pick up the win, but it took them innings to do it. And so you're like, what is that? Does that mean anything?
Yeah. Well, and LSU, just going back, they were at the beginning of the baseball season, college baseball season, they were projected to be number 1 in the nation. And they did battle it out with Wake Forest, but they were number 2. So it's not a surprise, but because this first game was in innings and it was so close, it did make you think, is this going to be another, ranked team that just highly ranked team that just kind of just falls by the wayside?
At that point, it's in the back of my mind. Okay, what's going on? What's going to happen? Next night, by the time I was able to get to the game, there was no reason to watch it.
No, no, not at all.
It was already 20-something to whatever. And it's interesting because we're going to talk about the Angels coming up, and they had an incredible night that was like similar to this. And I thought, oh man, Florida just ran them over.
Oh yeah, 24-4. I mean, LSU lost by 20 runs in the second game. So you have to think, after a game like that, a victory like that, Florida has got to be coming into this third game just all hyped up.
And maybe they were just a little too hyped up. Dylan Cruz from LSU said, when asked about it, he said, we got punched in the mouth yesterday. And he said, but that's the beauty of baseball. You get to wake up in the morning and do it all over again. And they pretty much made Florida pay in game 3. And I think we even talked about it and we agreed that they were making up for the night before, as LSU goes on and scores 18 runs. So maybe not 24, maybe not a 20-run, beating, but 18-4 was the final.
18-4, yeah.
And actually, it had been even it took them. They didn't score all those runs until late in the game. Florida didn't get a couple of those runs. It was like 18-2 at one point.
Yeah, then at the end, towards the end of the game, I think Florida had a couple of home runs, but they were just singles, so it wasn't
like garbage time as far as that goes. Nobody really cared. Nope. It wasn't like they were threatening, and so that gave LSU their 7th College World Series title, the first one for their coach, Jay Johnson. He has never won one prior to this. I think the closest he came was with when he was at Arizona. But he finally.
This is his second year coaching, as the head coach at LSU. So it looks good on the resume.
Yeah, if you plan on leaving at some point or hoping to maybe move up into the pros, then that can definitely work for you. So yeah, and like you said, only his second season there. They walk away from Omaha, head back to Baton Rouge as the champions.
Yeah, the Tigers had, like you said, this is their 7th time. They had been tied with Texas for 6 titles. Now Southern Cal is the only one. USC has 12, and they haven't won at all since 1998. So, we'll see. Maybe they'll be like, okay, we got to attack on some more as an SEC. We don't want the SEC, but of course everybody's moving to the SEC. So
right, there's so much that's going to be going going on there. You've got Oklahoma and Texas joining here soon. You know, LSU, almost every game that they play at home there in Baton Rouge, they outdraw the Oakland A's and almost outdraw the Miami Marlins, and I'm sure Tampa as well.
Well, and this World Series in Omaha had the highest attendance, I think, ever for World Series. So for the College World Series, just getting back to the SEC, you had LSU this year, Ole Miss last year, Mississippi State the year before, and then Vanderbilt in 2019.
Right. There was nobody in 2020.
Yeah. So
and then Florida won it in 2017.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, the SEC has placed at least one team in the College World Series in 14 of the last 15 years. So it really shows the domination of the of SEC, and they're just kind of touching everywhere, because didn't the LSU women's basketball team, I think, also won their championship this year?
I'd have to look, but yeah, I believe so. I believe you're right. So yeah, it was from start to finish on all of them. I know you would have liked to see an Oral Roberts Wake Forest final, so that way either way,
I'd be happy. Yeah,
you win. But yeah, it was still good. There's a lot of guys, especially from that LSU team, that we're probably going to see. We're going to hear their names called during the MLB draft coming up during All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
So Paul Scanes is probably going to be one of the top names.
Right, and he was the College World Series MVP, and he's got his own clothing. I don't say clothing line, but a T-shirt that has his mustache. It just has his sunglasses and the mustache, and you know who it is.
And like I said, I was kind of impressed because he was a transfer to LSU out of the Air Force Academy.
Yeah, he's got a cool story out of the Air Force Academy, and also had his story had been told about how when he went to LSU, he wanted to continue giving back to the military. So there's a scholarship called Folds of Honor, and it's a scholarship program for family members of military members who have been killed in action. And so he had during this whole year, he wanted to raise $20,000. He's way over that after they did a story about it on ESPN. So that always helps.
Yeah, that never hurts when it comes to stuff like that. All right. So, hey, another great College World Series. So much to talk about. We got next year. It comes back again. Where I'm already ready.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's going to be there. I'm already ready.
Yeah, who's going to be projected to be number one? Is it, who's going to come back for revenge? I already heard that the Tennessee head coach is hoping Florida is not there.
I'm sure
because they have a lot of their guys are younger guys, freshmen, sophomores. So he's hoping they don't show back up. So we'll see.
So they're going to, you will see, let's see, Friday, June 14th, 2024 will be the kickoff to the College World Series, with the championship game, the final game being somewhere around the 23rd or 24th of June. So just under a year from now. So we don't even have to wait a whole 365.
No.
We're already in there. So the countdown, so while some are counting down to Christmas, we're counting down to next College World Series.
That's right. Before the greatest show on dirt.
There you go. Before we go and start talking about the Freeway Series, couple things that we never mentioned, there's one thing that's just kind of a gee whiz thing that I noticed that I liked, but Oral Roberts and their snakes or gummy worms or whatever they were. When you got to first base,
That's right.
the coach gave you a couple of gummy worms or gummy snakes or whatever they called them. I think they called them snakes or something.
Yeah.
And if you made it to base, you got a base hit or you walked. You got those. The coach kept them in there, kept them in his pocket so they were nice and warm and soft and sound too appealing now that I think about it. But anyway, the players loved it. When they got there, you'd see them eating them. Normally you'd look at it, there's always one hanging out of their mouth like
It's a good incentive to get to first base.
And they enjoyed that. It worked well for them most of the time. Fortunately, I think that they just met up with better teams.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't get things going. The other thing that I wanted to bring up that I thought was, because even more so than the college baseball guys, those guys are, when they're in the dugout, there's not a lot of chirpiness. They're all watching the game. Somebody does some home run or whatever, they all come out and meet them right at the front of the dugout. But the thing that got me was watching Oklahoma, watching the Sooners, the women's College World Series. And the whole time, every time they showed any dugout, in any game I saw, but specifically in that championship game, the players were all right there, fully engaged in the game, and they were chirping. They were constantly encouraging their teammates. They were constantly yelling stuff. They were in the game more so. It's not like a little bit in the men's baseball. Nothing like in pros. Even at minor leagues, those guys are back there. They're looking at an iPad. They're looking at. Sometimes I get like the pitcher is back over there sitting down while the team's doing. But even in these, the pitcher was right up there too. What kind of lead are you guys going to build for me, or what am I working with? Getting out there. It was. I really liked it. I wish there was more of that vibe across all the men's side, not just the softball side with the women. But I was really, that always stood out to me, and I meant to bring it up before. But anyway. Once again, great, another great College World Series. Like I said, not a real surprise that SEC teams got in there, but the way that it ended, I kind of thought after the beating that LSU took on Sunday, there was no way they were going to win on Monday because they barely beat them on Saturday. But that's the beauty of baseball. Before we break down the Dodgers and the Angels weeks individually, we're going to combine them for this next segment as we had our first of 2 meetings this year, 4 total games. The first 2 games played in Anaheim, the Freeway Series. Dodgers, Angels, and first night out. In fact, it ends up being a short week. Thanks to that, only 2 games. Neither team played on Monday. And then they were off again on Thursday. So they meet up there. Dodgers throw Clayton Kershaw on game 1 on Tuesday. And one thing that I can tell you here, in the past couple of weeks, really great weeks for the Angels, not as great weeks for the Dodgers. Honestly, this was an underwhelming series.
It was.
What was there, like a total of 4 runs scored in the 2 games. Dodgers had them all. Angels scored nada on what turns out to be a bad week for them. Like I said, we'll talk about that coming up. But right now, just a real quick look over the Freeway Series. As like I said, 2-0 to start it out. Kershaw grabs his 9th win of the season. Evan Phillips grabbing the save. And really, when you look at what each team did, obviously the Angels didn't do much of anything. They were able to muster up 5 hits against the Dodger pitchers, and all 5 of those were against Clayton. Caleb Ferguson and Evan Phillips shut them out the rest of the night.
Yeah, you could see the excitement for Caleb Ferguson, who doesn't show a lot of emotion on the mound, but was excited when he struck out Shohei and Mike Trout. And
Yeah,
in this,
that was a big thing right there. And I mean, now let's go here. Reed Detmers for the Angels pitched well too. You figure
oh yeah,
both starters went 7 innings. Detmers only gave up 2 hits, and overall the Angels only gave up 6 hits. So it's
right.
not like they just couldn't put runs on the board. The Dodgers made more out of theirs. Reed Detmers even had 8 strikeouts compared to only 5.
And 3 of those strikeouts were Mookie Betts.
Yeah, and that says a lot too, right there. Because Mookie doesn't, and he strikes out, but normally he'll get something, and not today.
Yeah, so Kershaw has 22. He had thrown before this game. He had thrown 22 consecutive scoreless innings in Anaheim, and he continued that stat.
His dominance.
Yeah. Ohtani 0 for 4, Trout 0 for 4. Yeah, just and this is the thing about Mookie Betts striking out 3 times. This was his first 3 strikeout game since April 15th. He just couldn't get what Detmers was throwing. He was he went, I mean, really, Detmers, it went toe to toe with Kershaw.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Will Smith had a 2-hit night, as well as and then had one of the RBIs. Michael Busch grabbed the other one, and in fact, Michael Busch and Miguel Rojas were both scored the runs that would win this. Game number 2.
All about the home runs.
About the same. Yeah, different manner of scoring.
Yes.
But about the same. No home runs in game 1, but game 2, once again, 2-0 on the hill and it was a bullpen game for the Dodgers. On the hill for the Angels was Shohei. Shohei struck out 12, gave up a home run, went 7 innings, 5 hits. That home run only really being the only blemish on his pitching night. It was a great night for him, and like I said, 12 strikeouts total, which was more for him individually than what, like 27 pitchers for the Dodgers could muster. They had 8 total. 7.
Yeah, and they
7.
all they all looked good, and even Alex Vesia, he didn't give up any hits and did have a strikeout. He had a walk, but yeah, overall they looked really good. And I think we've talked about this before, finding your place, and it seems like Evan Phillips is kind of finding that role, or at least the Dodgers are maybe thinking about putting him in that closer role.
Back-to-back nights with a save. And, once again, Dodgers, the Angels mustered 2 hits this time. 0 for 3 runners in scoring position. They just couldn't get anything going at all.
Phil Nevin said that it was hard for them because they had a different pitcher, every inning and a half, whatever it may be. But there was, I think it was in this game, was Trout maybe the last out, and or second to the last out, and it looked like he was just ready to go. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm tired.
Let's
go.
He was second out in that inning because Brandon Drury flew out. But his swing was it wasn't even half-hearted. It was like quarter-hearted. It was way off the plate. And I think I said to you right when that happened, or I texted you, I said, that was a terrible swing or a worthless swing, or he didn't care.
Yeah.
And honestly, start looking at what he's been doing. He's batting .253. His slash line is pathetic for somebody that, I just saw a tweet the other day. This guy automatically gets into the Hall of Fame. Sorry, I still don't buy it.
Yeah.
He's been a great player, but he's going to end up the way he's going. He's going to end up the Hall of the Very Good, not the
Yeah,
Hall
he
of Fame.
could. Yes, very much so. Yeah, so great freeway series for the Dodgers
Right, and only the Dodgers.
and only the Dodgers.
Yeah, that was
Woohoo!
just and after, really that one game coming back, I thought, okay, that's nothing. I expected the Angels to come back the next night and do something with it, especially once I found out it was going to be a bullpen game. I thought that actually works in the Angels' favor. But according to Phil Nevin, that's not the way the Angels work. If we don't
Yeah.
have consistency, oh, wait, there's going to be too many pitchers. Oh, no. And I heard somebody today. Oh, it was what's his name? Kevin Millar. He's on Intentional Talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was on during lunch, and he was just talking about. They asked him a question. What do you think will happen? Is more likely to happen? Ohtani winning the Cy Young or the Angels making it to the playoffs? He answered Angels making it to the playoffs, and I'm with him on that because you got guys like McClanahan and Dylan Cease and those guys that's all they're doing. And Ohtani could be thrown off on all that by them giving him an extra day of rest or throwing off because he's playing all the time, doing everything. But he said he liked the way what Phil Nevin was doing with the team. And you can't, Phil Nevin's still like a player and all this stuff. And I was like, usually I'm okay with you, Kevin, but I'm turning off my TV.
What have you been smoking?
Right. Well, what had happened before that, I think they were at Fenway, or he was.
Yeah.
And he almost got hit by a ball. And maybe that shook him up and he didn't think, Phil Nevin thinking this. And he played at the same time Phil played. So maybe he was just, I don't know. But
Maybe.
Anyway.
Yes, it must be. It must have been. He was in fear, and then all of his thoughts that he thought he knew came out tumbled.
Yep. So we'll talk more about each team, anything that we've got to about the players and all that. But as far as this goes, this is going to repeat itself up at the Ravine in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, very
right
soon.
Before the All-Star game, before that break. And it's going to be a weird weekend for the Dodgers and the Angels, just like last year. They're going to play a Friday and Saturday game, and then they're off on Sunday going in. So they're going to get an extended break for the All-Star week there. They won't play again until the following Friday. So we'll look forward to that.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
All right, let's pick it up where we left off. The Dodgers leave Anaheim, where they swept the first part of the 4-game season series with the Angels and come home to play their nemesis. Yes, no, there's rivalries, and then there's and this isn't a rivalry, I don't think. This is just hatred.
Yeah, this is, you did something that is just, you're never going to be able to apologize for it. You're never going to be able to make up for it. It's always going to be there.
Always. And we're talking about the Houston Asterix stopping in, the return of Dusty Baker to Dodger Town, to the Ravine. And Dusty had some moments during the series. It was overall was a pretty good series. It was a great week for the Dodgers. They've already got 2 wins under their belt. They've got 3 coming up versus the Asterix. How many will they walk away with? Well, let's take a look. Overall in the series, the Dodgers do win the series.
They do. They win this series, and that first game, it was just, this is the last time they met was 2021, and the team is a different team except for Altuve and Bregman, and I think they just expect that it's going to happen. That's just the way it is. It's always going to be that way. And I think, when you had mentioned even like Correa, he's not even with the Astros anymore, but he's with the Twins,
Correa,
but he still gets booed. But I think he was the biggest villain
And the thing is it didn't start out that way
No.
with Correa. It really was like just Altuve and Bregman were the two worst because they were the ones that kind of started it. And then Correa was like, well, I got to support my teammates. And everybody was like, okay with that. And then he like didn't just double down, triple down. He quadrupled down on the whole thing and
Yeah.
made himself more of a villain than anybody was going to make him.
Yeah.
And now that's going to follow him everywhere. But those three guys get it more than anybody else. Because like I said, I've not noticed it with Yuli Gurriel in Miami.
No.
Got to check it when he comes to LA next time. But when in Anaheim, they got those other three. They'll boo them all the time when the Twins come to town or when the Asterisks come around. But the rest of them, they don't. And like you said, Corey Julks was not part of that team in 2017. You guys think that's 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Most of this team, Kyle Tucker wasn't there.
Chase McCormick.
Jeremy Pena. Even Martin Maldonado wasn't there. He was with other teams, and he was an Angel at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different,
this is the
different squad, but they carry, as long as Altuve is there, he's always going to be that lightning rod. Because I think if he left and it was just Bregman, you can get to a point that you kind of forget Bregman's even there.
That's true. Yeah. I think he just kind of keeps his head down. He seems to just do that now.
Yeah.
In this series, you saw Emmett Sheehan again, and he gets his first win, which is nice.
Better results this time.
Better results, yes. And he continues to and he has said, I'm still pitching. I think to myself, I'm still in AA, and I just go out there and pitch. And it's worked. That mindset has worked for him. And he went 6 innings both times in both of his starts, which is more than we can say for other rotation whole pitchers, like Tony Gonsolin. I just throw that out there.
Yeah, he didn't have the zeros that he had in his first game, but that's okay because the last time he shut out the other team and then lost it or got a no decision. He didn't lose. He got a no decision. This time he gave up a couple of runs, and the bullpen was able to hold it and save it with Grove and Gratterall. So that was a good deal with him. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the weekend.
I would say these last the two games, Saturday's game ended crazy, and it's the question, Bach or no Bach. And then Sunday's game was similar. Both ended. Both of the games were 1-run scores. So,
well, it looked like in game 2 as well that the Dodgers were maybe going to be on the losing end of that game because by the 6th inning it was 7-3. But they're able to throw up 5 runs, including that controversial one, and Ryan Stanek letting the Dodger crowd know that they need to shut it down. He wasn't wanting to listen to it anymore in no uncertain terms, motivational buzzwords included.
His meltdown I think, will go into the vaults of MLB history because it's very slight. There was a second base umpire that called it. If you go back and watch it, and even he said on Sunday, the announcers were, because they were on ESPN, said, he went back and watched it, and he was like, oh, okay, yeah. I think he kind of like, okay, I can see where he would call it, but he still is not too sure because it was his first walk ever.
Slight. And even you had mentioned, and that's probably the thing that hurts the worst. He'd never balked before in the majors or in anything. Then, and it's really, honestly, I had to go back and find a slow motion to really pick it up because so kudos to the umpire for being eagle eye at that point. I'm sure during his time behind, if he was behind the plate, because I know on the Sunday game he wasn't. But if he was behind the plate during that series, I'm pretty sure he probably didn't call him that sharp, the balls and strikes, but he was on it for that one. Alex Bregman led the way for the Asterix, while Jason Hayward was the big gun in that game for the Dodgers, where they came away with that 8-7 win, and they did it on 5 hits.
Well, and 3 of those hits were home runs. So.
Right, yeah. Hayward had one, Will Smith had one, and David Peralta pinch hit home run.
Yeah.
From that. Bobby Miller kind of didn't recover from his last bad outing.
No, I think it only went, like 4 innings?
4 innings, 10 hits. I would have almost thought that Tony Gonsolin may have been the one that started here, but nope.
Yeah, he has said it. I've seen this written that he, in an interview, probably after the game, that he was going away from his game plan that he used in his first, 3 games. And I'm thinking, why would you do that? If it's a successful game plan and it's working for you,
right, use
it. But he, for whatever reason, has, maybe since he's realized that, he will go back to it. Phil Bickford, Skip, is back off of the IL. He gets the victory, and Evan Phillips gets his 10th save. So
like you said, he seems to be settling in that role and pitching the way you want him to pitch. I think right now the question will be is what does Friedman do as far as picking up pitching? Because like we talked about last week, everybody needs pitching.
Everybody, and it is in any time as we get closer, trade rumors. I mean, we've already had some trades happen, and but it's everybody needs pitching, and it's just heating up. So it's going to be it'll be interesting. And I have a little tidbit about a pitcher in All Around Baseball. So
okay, cool. Look forward to that. Wrapping up on the Sunday game. Looked like the Asterix were going to be in control of that one. 4 runs in the first 4 innings. Got a 4-1 lead until the 8th, when the Dodgers are able to put up 3 on the board and tie everything up and send it into innings.
Yeah, but it was Alex Bregman that drove in the game-winning run in the 11th, and Astros beat the Dodgers 6-5. But
the Dodgers kept trying to battle back, and they would get there, but it was like that. It's like playing a board game, and you roll the dice or whatever, and it's like you catch up, but then every other one, the other team rolls the 6, you roll the 5.
Right.
So maybe they tied it up. They tied it up once in the 10th, but in the 11th they just couldn't. They couldn't keep the Asterix from scoring. The Ghost Runner scored both innings.
Yeah, and which is, I think, what they're supposed to do, right? The Ghost Runner is supposed to come across. But in this game, Freddie Freeman did get his 2,000th hit. He became the 98th player in Major League history with that milestone and 300 home runs. And he said he seems to get these milestone in losses. If you remember, so 2,000th hit, they lose. He got his 300th home run.
They lose
in St. Louis, and they lost. But his family was there, his dad, his stepmom, wife, kids. They were all there to see it, so that was good.
And he, his little speech in the locker room afterwards, because when they get the milestones, they break out some champagne. They did the same thing when he hit 300. Any other player gets that. And you see that he's really become a part of the team. He not only said it's been, great being able to play in front of his family back in Southern California, which you weren't sure that he felt that way last season. Right. This season, you see it more, but he was actually saying, you guys are my family here now. And I love being here, and I appreciate all this. And it was nice to see that. Like I said, he's rapidly become my favorite Dodger.
Yeah, definitely. He does fit right up there. And I think it's a good cohesive unit. But I would like to see, as you mentioned, come on, get off the iPads, get up on that railing, and pay attention to the game. One thing I do like about Freddie Freeman, just as a note, he has a very specific routine about when he gets to the ballpark, what he does. And everybody knows he has a specific spot on the bench where he sits. And don't sit there, because that's Freddie's spot. And he's one of those guys. Do you ever see him on iPad? Nope. He's doing his golf clap when he likes what he sees. So
he's paying attention to the game. He's rooting on his teammates.
Exactly.
Paying attention so he knows what to look for when he gets up there.
Yes.
And, that's what I like to see. And that's what Cuz mentioned in the 2020 season, was we're not on those. And
yes.
It was in the fallout. We got to thank the Asterix for that. In the fallout of that cheating scandal, all that stuff got taken away. And or put on such a delay that it wasn't as helpful. And now the first thing they do is they run in there and they look at it.
Yeah.
Before they do anything else, unless they homered or scored a run. And instead of sitting there and talking to the guys like Freddie Freeman, who's, second or third in MLB in batting, hitting around 320, 2,000 hits, 300 home runs. This is a guy, that's who you want to talk to. What are you seeing? What's working for you? The iPad's not going to tell you something better. It's going to give you an idea, but you should have already known that coming in, as Joe Madden would have prepared you for, that you're not having to look at it in the dugout.
Exactly.
Right. So Dodgers, great week for them. Even with the lackluster overall performance for both the LA teams, with the Angels and the Dodgers, they still walk away. They put themselves briefly. They were ahead of the Giants. I think the Giants are back ahead of them now. But, they're real close. We talked about the Giants playing the Padres and the Diamondbacks this last week. So they kind of stayed where they were. The Padres couldn't really beat them. I think they took one of those. So the Dodgers maintain where they're at, but they're close. And if you look at a lot of the experts, the Baseball Reference, I get an email from them every day about the top performances of the day before. They still show that the Dodgers are the favorite to take one of the two buy spots, to be one of the top two. Last time I heard, they were looking at about an 88 win season projection wise right now.
Yeah,
it may go up a little bit now, but I'm thinking 92 is reasonable, and it gets them at least a wild card spot, depending on how Arizona right now doesn't look like they're going to fade off. But everything seems to happen after the All-Star break.
That is so true. So true. Yeah, so the Dodgers coming up head to Denver, and then they will go to Kansas City for a weekend series.
Denver 2 weeks in a row, because the Angels were there last week.
Yeah,
we'll
that's
talk
right.
about them.
Yes.
But yeah, so did you have a player of the week?
Yeah, I went with a pitcher this time, and I think I went with a pitcher last time, so I don't know why I said this time. I went with Evan Phillips. He had 3 saves over the week. Right now, he has this is overall his total. So he has a 1.99 ERA and a .76 WHIP, which is really good. So a WHIP is walks and hits per innings pitched. So it's how well a pitcher has kept runners off the base pads. He's done a really good job. Usually a 1 is that's good. That's like really good. Anything below a 1 is like excellent. It's outstanding.
Right. You don't really want to see them up over like 1.2, 1.3.
No.
So Cool. I also went with Evan Phillips. He really showed 3 saves over the 5 games and, did a great job. I thought about Freddie just because he got that milestone, but let's
He was
give.
also, yeah, he was at the top of my list. I go through and I look at the box score and I pick out some different ones that catch my eye. But in the end, it was Evan Phillips who gets the nod.
All right. Like you said, Colorado and Denver, and then at Waterfall City.
That's right. City
Kansas
of
City.
Fountains. That's right.
Oh, that's right. Fountains, not waterfalls. But they got the waterfall in the
Yes.
outfield. And this is the last season for Kauffman Stadium and the Royals. So
Yeah. Well, the Royals playing in Kauffman Stadium, right? So, like, this is the last season for the Royals.
well, they only got like 21 wins, so
It could be.
It could be it. We're done.
We're
not going to let this team play in our new stadium.
They're not worthy.
Well, like I said, the Angels dropped their first 2 of the week to the Dodgers. Never scored a run, and then they headed up to Colorado to play the Rockies. Things didn't get a whole lot better for them, although they did score more runs. In fact, a lot more runs, but it didn't save them from having a 1-4 week. Out of 5 games, they were only able to muster 1, but that one was pretty spectacular.
It was.
Really not a lot of reasons to talk about the other 2 games. Shohei still killing it. Another home run in the first game of that set, number 25. Mike Trout also with a home run in that game. Both of those guys had them off of Freeland, and they went back to back.
Yes.
But they still couldn't solve the Rockies. They were actually winning through the 8th, the top of the 8th, the bottom of the 8th, the Rockies, thanks to a grand slam by Elias Diaz off of Chris Davinsky.
Ran away. This stat is crazy. That grand slam was the first grand slam by a Rockies player since they hit one in Philadelphia on September 10th of 2021.
Wow. Of all the stuff. And they have CJ Crone there. You would think CJ would have hit something.
Well, he's been right. And he'd been on the injured list. He's off the wheel. But yeah, I mean, and they play in Denver. They're playing at a mile high. But I think that is a lot of hype.
Yeah, I think exactly. It's overhyped. Because I've never really seen the way it's hyped up, you think that there's a home run every hit.
Right. Either close to it, but it should be the way they talk about it. It should be a home run. Everybody, just home runs everywhere. And it's not.
No. So we're not going to talk about Saturday night's game yet, because Saturday night's game was just bonkers crazy. And even the Rockies would say it was bonkers crazy just from a different perspective. Angels, they played okay. I mean, it didn't feel like in the 2 losses on Friday and Sunday, it never felt like they were like just completely out of it until that grand slam kind of closed the door on them. On Sunday, they lose it 4-3. Shohei has another good day with the bat. Goes 2 for 4, has a triple in that one. Tyler Anderson didn't pitch bad, but he actually really pitched about the same.
Yeah, and he seems to be just kind of he's not getting better, which I felt like his last start, he said he felt like he knew what he needed to do, but he's not doing it. It's like, yeah, I'll do it next time. I'll just do it next time.
Right. Yeah, you know who he has become the equivalent of Noah Syndergaard in that I know this isn't going right, or I'm not pitching well, but I know I kind of feel this way. I kind of think I know what's going wrong, but he doesn't know how to fix it, or at this point, he's not even willing to fix it. Just like
Yeah.
Syndergaard talks about how bad things are, but it's like you've been going to therapy for 25 years. You've always known what's wrong with you, and yet you never fix it.
Right.
And I feel like Tyler Anderson's in that same boat. Only gives up, 3 runs, and strikes out 9 over 6 innings. But he just, it just didn't really.
Well, and this again is a great, because the Rockies are in the bottom, they're in the cellar. But Austin Gomber, he became Colorado's first starter to win in more than a month. So that just tells you the Rockies' troubles they've been having. And so for the Rockies to be able to come out and win the series was maybe a good boost for them. But yeah, I mean, it just
We'll
it
see.
was.
We'll see how they play against the Dodgers.
Yeah, well,
If
and
this is a carryover for them.
the Dodgers always bring in a lot of the park is usually always full. They have good attendance, and yeah, I think the last couple of times I've gone, the Dodgers lost. So we'll see.
Mike Trout 0 for 3 in his batting average drops to 255. Like I said, stat line is just ugly. Right now, Shohei is really carrying. Shohei's been on a hot streak for quite a while now. And, Brandon Drury still. And then new addition to the Angels, Eduardo Escobar.
Yeah, from the Mets.
Yep, he had a good series. Really cool to see what he could do. He seemed to be happy there in Anaheim, and then we also saw the return of David Fletcher in this series.
Yeah, Fletcher's back.
Yep, and he had a good night on Saturday. So let's talk about Saturday night's game because it was pretty bonkers.
Yeah.
Started off
crazy.
like any other game. First inning, nothing. Angels able to pick up 2 runs in the bottom of the second, thanks to the aforementioned David Fletcher, 2 RBI single. Both Hunter Renfroe and Eduardo Escobar had singled to get on base. Mickey Moniak was hit by a pitch, and Fletcher comes up and Renfroe and Escobar score. Moniak moves up just a base. That would be where that ends. Griffin Canning, who looked like Cy Young out there. And honestly, I was like, let him pitch. He was doing so good. He ends up, getting bailed out after 6 innings, giving up only 4 hits and no runs, striking out 7. But he threw 99 pitches, and I think that was more the factor. He wasn't having to pitch under stress, though, based on the lead that he would be given in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, and that 3rd inning was crazy because it was a 13-run 3rd inning with Mike Trout, Brandon Drury, and Matt Thaiss hitting homers on consecutive pitches. To back
3 pitches. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy how that worked. Everybody came up at least twice. David Fletcher made 2 of the outs, on the way to this 13-run inning. And at that point, 15-0. Honestly, it was the Angels go on to break their franchise record, which was 24 runs scored in a game, and hit 25. And if not for a late inning home run by Britton Doyle off of Colton Ingram, who would be optioned back to AAA right after that game, they would have blanked them. It would have been a 25-0 shutout. But Britton Doyle gets their home run, gets them on the board. But yeah, it was absolute bonkers. Every time you looked, it felt like the Angels were scoring another run.
Yeah, I mean, the tally was like at a.
You know what? It was going up like the national debt counter.
Oh, I was going to say a telethon. Yeah.
Yeah, like the telethon. It was like every minor they were counting it up, but it was like the national debt is what it felt like. If you watch it, it just seems like it's always going.
Yeah.
Or those signs like smoking deaths this year, and it just keeps rolling through.
Just keeps going.
Same kind of thing.
Now
and
this, I was going to say,
unstoppable.
Yeah, they really were. This is the third highest margin of victory. It's the tied for the third highest in the majors since 1900, behind Texas's 30-3 victory over Baltimore in 2007 and Boston's 29-4 victory over the St. Louis Browns in 1950.
Yeah, it's like I said, it just felt like every time they turned around. Kevin Padlow, who was another call-up because they've had so many issues. Jared Walsh sent back down to AAA to start working on the issues, trying to get him back in because he hasn't really hit one home run. He's not really been hitting anything, batting in the hundreds. And so they sent him down. Kevin Padlow, who's a longtime pro, a lot of time in the minors, but they thought that his bat could help. Not really.
I do have another stat that I think is interesting in this game because there's full of them. So Chase Anderson was pitching for the Rockies, and he is the one who gave up the back-to-back homers. This is the second time that he has given up homers on 3 straight pitches. The last time it happened, he was with the Blue Jays, and it happened September 17th, 2020, when Brett Gardner, DJ LeMahieu, and Luke Voigt of the New York Yankees at the time all went back-to-back.
Wow. Mickey Moniak and Hunter Renfroe, both with 5 hits each, which was pretty cool. In that 13-run inning, 4 home runs, the 3 consecutive, and then Mickey Moniak hit one later in the inning, maybe even on his second time up, because everybody got that. They were kind of hoping that maybe Hunter Renfroe would get another shot so he could have 6 hits.
Well, I really
or at least give him a shot at it.
Yeah, and I like during this game, Jason Stark, who writes for The Athletic, tweeted out, Hunter Renfroe, first Angel with a 5-hit game in 5 years. Mickey Moniak, first Angel with a 5-hit game since 2 hitters ago.
Right. Yeah. By the 3rd inning, every starter had a hit and an RBI.
Yeah.
It was Brandon Drury that led the way with 4 RBIs that night. Taylor Ward had 3. Hunter Renfroe also with 4. Mickey Moniak with 4. Oh, I forgot. The guy who really led the way with 5 RBIs, David Fletcher.
That's right. And nice. I am back, and here I am. Shohei Ohtani, 1 for 7 in this game, but, still had a hit. And
he did, and they didn't need him that night, so he got the night off. Oh, and by the way, David Fletcher also with a home run in the game. So 5 total home runs for him. So it was a great night, and to be an Angel fan, I think I mentioned this, if not last episode, this episode before that, was the Angels need a cruise game where they just go, boom. And honestly, I didn't think anything of it until the end of the game, the last inning, when they sent Tucker Davidson out, and I thought we may win this, but it's gonna be like 25-24.
That's right. Yeah, because that guy, I mean, every time, like, oh.
But he did all right, struck out 2 and got the 3 outs in there, all on 11 pitches. So he was all right. It was Colton Ingram, the rookie, who had a problem there. So Angels, like I said, 1-4 week. I think that one game that we were just talking about kind of shades the losses.
Yeah, I think
They're
so.
they're still okay. They still got a winning record. They're still in a good spot overall as far as they're, where they're at. They're in, and honestly, as soon as they were done with this series, as much as I don't care what Kevin Millar says about Phil Nevin. Phil Nevin's a knucklehead. I don't really like Perry Manassian either. However, I will give him this. He's been aggressive with bringing up the young guys when they need somebody and giving them a chance to shine, and some of them have. Joe Adele has been called back up. We'll see for how long and see if that makes any difference. But the team is all talking about what's been happening. They went out and got Eduardo Escobar, which to begin with looks like it's been a good thing. And then, because they're just having issues, Jared Walsh not playing well at first. They were trying Hunter Renfroe out there. They go and grab Colorado Rocky, who's been having an okay kind of bounce back season for the Rockies, and Mike Moustakas. So Moose is now an Angel.
Right. Yeah, and that happened after the Saturday game. So on Sunday,
Right.
he was in one dugout. Sunday, he was in the visitors' dugout.
Yep. He just walked around across the field or around the back of the stadium into the new clubhouse. And he didn't play on Sunday, but I do believe that the Angels are playing the White Sox to start off their week. And he'll be playing in that. He'll make his Angels debut at home. And being a guy from Southern California, from Chatsworth, out in the San Fernando Valley, he said he was happy to be back home.
So that could be a good thing for him and for the Angels because they need a depth at first base, and he can play first base when you're trying to put an outfielder in, or there's nobody consistent there. So that should be good for them. The White Sox are coming in to Anaheim for a 4-game series, and then the Diamondbacks come in for a weekend series.
Like I said, got to give it back to Perry, just from the idea that, they lost Urshela probably for the season. Yeah. Eduardo Escobar, Moustakas coming in, being able to play first base. These are the things that they have to do and the Angels players feel like they're not giving up.
Well, and another thing, I think bringing Escobar in, who's playing third, Moustakas can play third too. I mean, he's mainly first baseman, but bringing both of those guys in kind of shows you they're not going to lean on Rendon. Oh, he's coming back, or because he'll come back and then he'll just be back on the IL. And so it does show a forward looking instead of like, oh, well, let's wait for Rendon to come back, because you just don't know.
Right. And so that'll be good. And too many guys out all of a sudden. There is no return date for Zach Neto, who he was putting himself in the Rookie of the Year talk. And now he just started doing some light workout and stuff like that. Says he's feeling okay, but he hasn't even started baseball activities yet. I mean, he may be back. He'll probably be back sooner than later compared to some of the other guys coming out. Like I said, Urshela is probably out for the rest of the year with that broken pelvis. And, he doesn't, I don't think they said that he needed surgery, but it's going to take a long time just to get healed before he can even start rehab stuff.
Well, I can't even imagine, I've broken my ankle, and that was tough enough. I mean, that's a long process. I can't imagine your pelvis. That's like how you move, how you walk, all of that.
Right. That's a part of your main core support system.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's that sucked because you lost a good utility player. He could play the corners, and his bat had been pretty consistent.
Yeah, and that was a good pickup for the Angels. I mean, the offseason, we talked about it. I think that was like the number one. So it's like, yeah, that's a tough loss.
Yeah, it was tough there. Luckily, Brandon Drury, who on Father's Day, when they talked to him, mentioned that he, thanks to the help of his dad this season, he's had some ups and downs, but more ups, especially lately. He rediscovered some things about his swing thanks to working with his dad. So
maybe his dad is he dad looking for a job? Because we might need a
maybe they need
hitting
a
coach. Because I just read an article about David Fletcher. This was before he got called up. And he said, and he was being interviewed by Sam Bloom, who also writes for The Athletic. And he said, I feel like they just don't want me. And it wasn't said in a way that was, he was set, it was just matter of fact. But he got sent down and he said, but I've only been at bat 16 times. It's really a small sample size to see what I could do. And they sent me to Salt Lake where he was doing great. And they were calling up other, Stefanik and all these other guys to come up. And so I think it's the thing with the hitting is he's like, well, what do I need to work on? And they're like, maybe your swing. And I mean, really? That's what you tell them? I mean, because there's so much more to hitting than just your swing. It's where's your elbow? Where's your foot? Trey Turner right now got a leg kick going. There's different things. So maybe Brandon Drury's dad has the answer. Maybe he needs to open up his own little academy to help.
Yeah, like his own version of that, the hitting academy, like Charlie Lau back in the 70s, who worked with like George Brett and those guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, and here's one more thing talking about Mike Moustakas. Moustakas just won or was a World Series champ with the Royals just 2015. So just 8 years ago. But there's nobody else on the team really that has something that close that I can remember. And then with the Escobar, he's been around for a while. White Sox, Twins, Diamondbacks, and then the Mets. It's a lot. Opens up his time with the Angels. Batting 500 over just a couple of games, and one of them being the game.
The game. It will always be known. It will go into the annals of history. The game.
The game. All right. As you said, White Sox and Diamondbacks come into Big A. Who's your player of the week?
Okay, so this one I went back and forth on, and I'm changing it just as right now as we speak.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Mickey Moniak because he had in the 4 games he played. Now he had a .545 batting average, all thanks to the game. 5 RBIs, a home run, 4 doubles. So I'm gonna go with Mickey.
I am going with I don't buy a lot of I have one jersey. I actually have 2 jerseys, but I have one jersey that has a current player's number, although he's not on that team anymore, and that's Justin Turner of the Dodgers. I have a number 10 in a blue. I also have Nolan Ryan's Angels jersey.
Yeah.
But I bought a T-shirt with a number on it from this guy, and I'm happy to see him back, and I'm giving it to David Fletcher. He came back in a big way, and he made his way back because I kind of felt like he did. I didn't feel like the Angels really felt that they wanted or needed him, and that maybe it was a mistake to give him the he didn't get any kind of big giant contract, but
yeah, he had they did a contract extension, but it was like, 26 million, something like that. So it wasn't huge. 5 years.
Really, in the long run, it wasn't anything. He's a bargain. And he does have to adjust to things because they figured out that he hits the high ball. And, he's like Lori Petty in League of Their Own. I like the high ones. He's had some crazy swings, goes up high. Even Shohei one day in Oakland a couple of years ago was making fun of him. And you know who was happy when Fletcher came back?
Who?
Shohei.
Oh,
Those guys are best
yes,
buddies.
that's right. That's true. Yeah, it's good to see him back. I think, but it was an interesting article about how he, and like you said, he didn't really have any hard feelings or didn't admit to them. So hopefully he is back to stay and keep hitting and contributing and just being a good, just being a good, having that good juju in the dugout.
Yep. So here's hoping here's hoping that whatever is going on there, they can hold that together. It was a bad week, but it wasn't a terrible week. You didn't see all of the same way that they were losing earlier in the season, even just a few weeks ago. It didn't feel that way. It felt like a little slump. It almost felt like when the Dodgers go on a bad run, and then once they come back up again, they never really out of it. The Angels actually look like they could maintain and keep their footing to be a wild card.
Yeah.
Bullpen cart just pulled up. We got the bullpen Uber this week. And, normally we got the bullpen carts, got our little insignia on it, but I don't even know what the Uber bullpen, what's on the cap here. But we're going to get a ride because our bullpen cart seems to be in the shop right now. So we're going to bullpen Uber and take a ride around baseball. And as always, we like to start it off with the MLB Players of the Week. Is Freddie Freeman the National League because he got his 2000th hit?
No.
Isn't that how it normally works? You get a milestone, you're Player of the Week.
Well, this is
throw a no-hitter, Player of the Week.
That's right. This is a milestone, though, for this player, and it's really no surprise. But this guy, Ellie De La Cruz, is the National League Player of the Week. He continued his introduction to the big leagues. He kind of has a Ricky Henderson ego about him. When they were playing the Dodgers, he is like, this is like playing in the World Series. That's what he said.
Well,
anyway.
You should be playing for the Padres then.
And I think he did say that he was one of the greats. I'm one of the greats. But he is the National League Player of the Week.
I want to introduce him to Wander Franco. Because remember how Wander Franco came up? Mm-hmm. And not that he's not playing well now. I'd have to go look at his stats but he's part of, best team in baseball still.
Right.
I think some of the shine has come off of him, and he had that kind of ego too. Didn't he get like $100,000 worth of jewelry or something stolen out of the safe in his $500,000 car or something like that?
Yeah, he did. But Ellie De La Cruz, NL Player of the Week, and he had 2 home runs. Well, this week was highlighted, and the reason he is the Player of the Week was because he hit for the cycle in just his 15th MLB game. This feat, which was the first by a Reds player since 1989, which, I mean, you don't really hit for the cycle, but 1989.
I would have thought that at least somebody, Joey Votto, maybe in between somewhere, but Joey Votto wasn't even playing, he was playing Little League maybe at that point, if even that.
Yeah.
He's not that old.
So first time for a Reds player since 1989 to hit for the cycle. It was key for Cincinnati, that extended their winning streak to 12 games, which was the franchise longest win streak since 1957. He is the 3rd Red to be named Player of the Week, joining Nick Senzel and Matt McClain. And he is the 6th rookie in either league to win it in 2023. He does have a 440 batting average, 880 OPS. So he just continues to tear it up.
Which I got to say, I'm happy for the Reds fans that he came up and he lived up to the hype so far that they were expecting from him. Because when he played that very first game, every time he came to the plate, they were on their feet clapping
Standing
and cheering for him.
ovation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
they were
was
so
like, they were
excited.
so happy to see him. And for the record, Joey Votto could have been playing like T-ball, 6 years old in 1989.
Okay. All right.
He was the prize player of his T-ball team in Toronto.
Nice. The American League Player of the Week, we're going to go to Chicago, the South Side, Luis Robert Jr. I always have to say it because I always want to say Robert, but Robert
The
Jr.
baddest, the baddest part of town.
That's right. He
When you go
batted.
down there, you got to look beware for Luis Robert Jr.
Junior. That's right. He batted 444 with an MLB best 1.111 slugging percentage during the week. He crushed 4 home runs over 6 games, including 2 home runs in the Sunday game, and that helped the White Sox get a victory over the Red Sox. I think right now he is second for the most home runs in the AL. Second to Shohei Ohtani. This is his first Player of the Week honor, and he is the first White Sox hitter to earn it since Jose Abreu in June of 2021. And Jose Abreu is no longer a White Sox. So
no, he is an asterisk.
That's right.
First base, except for, I didn't mention this, but Mauricio Dubon played some first base for the Asterisks versus the Dodgers, played second base. I almost think that if something happened to Altuve, like somebody didn't see him stand there and stepped on him or whatever, I think that he could very well do what Jeremy Pena did when he took over for Correa, and that is make the Asterix fans forget all about him. Dubon has really picked it up. I mean, he played okay in San Francisco, but he's really been an asset for them this year.
Yeah, he's had the opportunity to play more because Altuve was on the IL, with his injury in the World Baseball Classic. So it's been good for him to be there. So I had mentioned that I had a tidbit about a pitcher.
Yes, you did mention that.
Now, I want to preface this with another pitcher because we're talking about how a lot of teams need pitching. Well, Toronto Blue Jays right-hander Alek Manoah, he was optioned to the minors in early June, like to the Florida Complex League team.
Oh, wow.
I mean, way down there.
I had heard like single A, but wow, that's even.
Yeah. So he made his first official start and he completed 2 2/3 innings. He gave up 11 runs on 10 hits, 2 of those home runs, 2 walks, and he struck out 3 batters. I don't think anyone's really going to be looking for him to trade for him. Maybe the Blue Jays hope, but I don't think if this is where he's going, that will be. However, in New York, the Mets are having a lot of issues. I think there will be some things that we'll be able to talk about next week because I think I also heard that there will be a press conference by Steve Cohen. So don't know, sometime this week. So not sure about that, but we'll talk about that next week. But I heard Max Scherzer is willing to waive his no-clause trade.
His no-clause trade or his no-trade clause?
No. No trade clause.
There's no clause
trade. So no Santa Claus.
There's no clause.
Don't you bring him near me.
That's right.
No trade clause. Sorry. When I typed it backwards. No trade clause. Ugh, I was all like dramatic and said it wrong. No clause, Trey. Oh. But he will want to go if that happens, and I don't know, it could just be a rumor. He's going to want to go to a team that's competitive. But looking at his history, I mean, other than when he was with the Nationals, he had a dead arm, did not help the Dodgers at all.
Not in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs. Had
Well,
a dead arm.
Wait.
So he
pitched well against the Giants, and it was done after that. He had an awesome game versus the Giants.
Yeah, the one game. And then it was, I'm done. And so that's when you're looking. So I thought, if he did this, would he be someone, would the Dodgers roll the dice and, with him again? I don't think so, but you never know,
The thing is at this point, beggars can't be choosers, and he has pitched well enough. He's a better known commodity than a lot of guys out there. And there's been a lot of talk about it, and I think I've been kind of harping on this for a while, just when we look at the standings, is that there are a lot of teams that for whatever reason are still in this.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like when you're like Seattle is hovering right around 500, do they start selling off pieces? Or do they start accumulating some pieces to see if they can make that second half run? Well, they're right there. They're not that far out of it. And all the teams in the Central, whether you're looking at the Central in the NL or the AL, St. Louis is 8.5 games out. And, Milwaukee, Cincinnati are both just a handful of games over 500. It's anybody's game in there. So I'm sure they don't want to throw it in. There's only like a few teams. Washington's 21 games out. The Mets are already 16. Really, it's only, I think, Atlanta through Philly and Philly, look at the run they made last year. So things could change. And all it takes is for a couple of players to really pick it up. Look at what Cincinnati's done all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I was just going to say with Cincinnati is they have always been during the trade, during this time, been sellers, and this year it looks like they will be buyers. So who will, and again, they need pitching just as much as anybody else. So it'll be interesting. I think this trade, it's going to start heating up, obviously, but it'll be interesting to see where people end up.
Right after the All-Star game, we'll start seeing more of that. But, who is there, that are truly out of it at this point? Oakland.
Yeah.
Pitching-wise, not really anybody you're going to grab. Maybe somebody you might see some upside that you hope can help eat up some innings. Kansas City, Zach Greinke is about it, and he's not having a great year.
Yeah, and then Aroldis Chapman,
which he's been linked to the Dodgers even,
and the Rangers.
Will they? That's right. You mentioned that last time. Will he? Will the Dodgers actually take a chance on him this time? They could have had him a few years back, and passed based on
I just thought of another. The Rockies are out of it. But would they, they have some pitchers that are somewhat, decent. The only one right now I think is Kyle Freeland, but
see, that's the question is, are any of those guys, even Kyle Freeland, and what kind of numbers does Kyle Freeland have? That what's the cost going to be? Because they're at a premium. Kyle Freeland's got a 1.3 WAR. He's got a 4.5 ERA. He's thrown 85 innings, only struck out 53. His WHIP is 1.4-ish. And
Yeah.
that still makes him a decent. And a lot of times the pitchers do tend, I mean, look at Carlos Estevez. He has pitched really well outside of Coors for the Angels. Would that be the same for Kyle Freeland? What are his splits? I'd have to look it up and see how he pitches on the road versus how he pitches at home. It's like, but what's it going to cost you? Is he worth that?
Right. Well, and the thing is he'd probably be the only one, because if you look, I think he is the top ERA guy for the Rockies. There's nobody.
Everybody else is over 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, one of those things like, well, maybe, I mean, Austin Gomber, I mentioned him in the Angel segment. He got his first pitcher to get a win in over a month for the Rockies. He has 5. Freeland has 4. So yeah, I mean, but those are just guys that, you kind of think, well, you never know what's going to happen in a trade, and what could happen for somebody to move, and would it make a difference for them and for their team,
right?
Their new
Brad
team.
Hand maybe as a reliever.
Yeah. I mean, so they, but that's, so I was thinking teams that are really just out of it. Would they be willing? Would the Rockies? I don't know. They haven't been in the past. So.
Right.
So it'll be an interesting one. But Max Scherzer, no trade clause. Will he waive it?
Interesting. We will see about that and all the rest. At this point, it's just a matter of, as of today, the second round of All-Star Game voting will be done. A lot of Dodgers made it to the second round. 4 or 5? We know Will Smith still setting in at second at the last time we took a look. Freddie number 1, Mookie at number 1, JD Martinez
number 1.
All of them, and just need a push for Will. I think that Will maybe gets added on, but it's going to depend too on which players are added from what teams that didn't have anybody voted in, and every team gets at least one All-Star, whether they deserve it or not. Even the Oakland A's, Brent Rooker will probably be their All-Star. He's been the guy. So, but once again, as far as our as everything else goes, how much is it going to cost? We'll probably talk more trades a lot after the All-Star break. And then All-Star Game in Seattle. We already know that Shohei is the only lock for the American League after being the top voter getter there, and of course, Ronald Acuna Jr. is with the National League, and the rest of it we will know later today.
Yeah, we will know, and we'll be able to share that with you next week, who will be where. As
we get ever closer, just a couple weeks away from the All-Star Game, and haven't heard anybody other than Mookie say that he would participate in the Home Run Derby. So probably by next week we'll start seeing more maybe pop up.
Yeah, I don't know that Pete Alonso, he's off of the IL, but I don't know if he's been a constant there, a fixture in the Home Run Derby, but I don't know if he'll be there this year based on injury. So we will see.
To see if he could pick it up again and try for 3 again.
Never know.
And with that, does Julio Rodriguez?
I was just thinking that. Yeah, if he goes in there. So,
and it is in Seattle, so it's his home stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Does he go with that?
Yeah. One stadium that was transformed for baseball over the weekend was the London Stadium. And that's because the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals traveled across the pond to put on a show for the Londoners. Is that what they are?
Is it just Londoners? Could
It
people
could be
not
everywhere.
from other parts of
Well,
Great
they
Britain?
could come on the channel, so it'd be for everyone, for Europe, I guess, because I hadn't seen Chase Utley around, and I learned that he and his wife and their 2 boys moved to London last year, or maybe it was earlier this year, but because they said their boys are young enough, they want them to experience these different things. So he is now the MLB ambassador for Europe.
Oh, wow.
So this was his kind of his debut with the whole thing. So London Stadium was originally built for the 2012 Olympic Games. West Ham United has been playing there. If you're a Premier League soccer fan, football fan.
If they didn't talk about them on Ted Lasso, I don't know what they are.
Yeah, that's right.
They
That's
did
how
talk
I
West
know
Ham,
them.
though, right?
They did talk about West Ham. That's how I know who they are.
Isn't West Ham? Isn't that West Ham? Isn't that where Nate went?
Yeah,
He was coaching West Ham.
Yeah, so the Cubs dominated the series opener. They came away with a 9-1 victory. And then the second game kind of felt like it was going to go on the same script. The Cubs raced out to like a 4-0 lead, but the Cardinals came back and won 7-5.
So next year there is going to be another series there. It'll be the Mets and the Phillies in 2024. They're going to add another game, so another Mexico City game next year, and they're going to South Korea. They'll be having a game in Seoul.
Yeah, so they're really trying to get the outreach going. I didn't think it was funny. We have races like here in Albuquerque. They have green chili, red chili, and the taco race. And in the Nationals have George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt. So because of, those fun races, they had the Winston Churchill, King Henry VIII, Freddie Mercury, and a King's Guard raced around home plate. Churchill won a photo finish during Saturday's race before a issue between the competitors on Sunday allowed the King's Guard to secure the victory. So that was a zany, they're probably like, what is going on here? Zany thing that Americans do. Sweet Caroline was also, big there, which is here too. So that's something we share. And then Nick Offerman, who was Ron Swanson on Parks and Rec, he led the crowd in Take Me Out to the Ball Game on Saturday. He's a Cubs fan. John Goodman was there on Sunday, a Cardinals fan, and he led the crowd in Take Me Out to the Ball Game. So it looks like it was a big success. On Sunday, they had 55,565 in attendance. Another good weekend for Major League Baseball, not only in London, but just across. Attendance is up for baseball like 8%. For the MLB. And then, like I said, the College World Series had its biggest attendance. So anybody who says baseball's dead, they don't know what they're talking about.
Coming up here in just a little bit on this week's Sibling Rivalry Baseball podcast, we're going to go to the fashion corner because we do have another unveiling. And I think we should maybe, before we talk about the latest, we should maybe just kind of a reminder of who else already has City Connects, because we started this a little later. There were some City Connects already out there that we really never talked about. We don't have to really talk about them, but we just need to throw them out there just kind of as a reminder who's been out there, maybe if there's anything of note, because I realized the Rockies were wearing theirs over the weekend at one point. And I said I liked them, but then I never really thought about their hat. And their hat it's like you're playing in a beer league at the Denver Parks and Rec. You're down there. You're in the Aurora, Colorado beer league with those hats. All they had to do would make them more trucker-looking hats, adjustable 70s style.
Yeah. Well, at least this year, if we look at who debuted this year for their City Connects, that would be the Atlanta Braves, which pretty basic. They weren't really anything new. They were they're an ode to Hank Aaron.
Right.
Texas Rangers, they like them, but they are crazy. They have a made up mythical character. The Seattle Mariners, the hat wasn't bad.
Color-wise, it was okay, but it's just
Yeah.
one of those two. There was too much going on and too much you couldn't see, too much you had to figure out, and they had to write, War and Peace novel type, book to explain
Right. Exactly.
what's going on.
The Cincinnati Reds, they're basically just, black jerseys with the red kind of pops out. They're not bad looking, but they're not. When you think of City Connect, you really want, I don't know. I really wanted the chili spaghetti. I didn't get that. Disappointed. Baltimore Orioles, that was a dud. I think they were trying to really be a connect to the city, where a lot of these teams was more a connect to, the Rockies, they are the Colorado Rockies. So it was really state connect, as we've mentioned before. But that didn't go over because a lot of these teams already have multiple jerseys that they wear. I think the Astros were pretty close as far as City Connect with their
Space City. Coloring was like all there. Well, so let's hang there, and we'll address that in just a second. We'll go kind of back over and even go back to 2021 with the ones before we get to this week's unveiling. Right now, though, I was just thinking about something I saw. Aaron Judge has been out for like 18 or so games for the Yankees since he took out a whole bleacher section at Dodger Stadium and
caused
cracked
an
the
earthquake.
foundation. Yes, biggest one we've had. They were talking about how the San Andreas Fault hasn't had a major earthquake over 7 in like decades.
Yeah.
And he almost caused one or something like that, and that the foundation of Dodger Stadium will have to be fixed over the winter. That's how big of a job. And apparently, after he took out a whole section of the right field corner of bleachers and that, he stubbed his toe, and turns out he maybe tore a ligament or something, and ended himself up for a longer stay on the wheel. I like this thing. I like this thing. I think that's what the pitchers all do, because I heard 51% of all pitchers are on the IL or have been.
It's crazy. Yeah, at one
spinning wheel, round and round. Okay, sorry. That one just came out of there. I forgot that one, the spinning wheel, big hit from back in the 70s.
Oh yeah.
Right here on Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast Radio.
What was that song by Rat? I hate the video.
Round and round.
That's right.
What
yeah.
goes around comes around. I'll tell you why.
All right. Well, I will tell you.
SRBB Radio.
is on the Wheel of IL. Diamondbacks pitcher Merrill Kelly is on the 15-day IL with a blood clot in his right calf. Jose Altuve is listed as day-to-day with heel pain, so he did not play in Sunday's game against the Dodgers. Dusty said he didn't think he'd be out long, but he didn't know. He bruised his heel. Vinny Pasquantino, the first baseman for the Royals, he has been on the IL, but then he was moved to the 60-day IL after having surgery to repair a torn labrum in his right shoulder. Chris Taylor is now on the 10-day IL with right knee soreness. He was last week. He was day-to-day. Shelby Miller is on the 15-day IL with a neck issue, but he is only expected to be out for about 3 to 4 weeks, so the minimum time. And as you mentioned, Aaron Judge will be on the wheel a little longer because his toe wasn't just bruised. He did tear a ligament in his big toe. A's Ramon Laureano is on the 10-day IL with a fractured right hand. Brian Reynolds of the Pirates is on the 10-day IL with lower back inflammation. And then Mike Yastrzemski has a hamstring strain, and so he is on the IL right now.
And then half of all pitchers.
And half of all pitchers, yeah. So you had some guys that came off. Max Muncy, I think, should be coming up pretty soon. I think is in the lineup or will be in the lineup for the Rockies series, from what I've heard. Phil Bickford came off of there. Anthony Rendon, I think, is close, but he'll hopefully just be sitting on the bench.
Who cares?
That's right. But yeah, no, still a lot of pitchers and a lot of them are out for the season. So I'm compiling all of that for my project.
Right. Every day it seems like there's another pitcher on there, and then you'll hear something about Tommy John maybe. I know there were a couple of those within the last couple of weeks that popped up. So yeah, it's pretty crazy as far as that goes. So we'll just keep going. And like I said, hopefully for like the Angels and the Dodgers, we see them, all these players that have gone there will come back like right around the All-Star game time. I know Dustin May was supposed to be back around then. We'll see. Yeah, but a lot of these players that have been doing things that could really help the team, it would be nice to have them back for the run.
So as far as the Dodgers, Dustin May, not sure. That may be a little bit more, but there's always hope. I did hear Jimmy Nelson could be back, and Daniel Hudson is in Arizona and starting rehab, so he could be back after the All-Star break. And then Julio Urias looks like he may be back. And we'll see, will he continue how he was, or did something get better? But yeah, of course, that's just the Dodgers. But yeah, lots of guys on the IL and a lot of rehab going on right now. So we'll see where people land on the wheel.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, that's been the craziest thing. We had to expand the wheels. There's the Tommy John wheel. And,
yes, it's a special wing.
Yes, a whole wheel.
Appendectomy. We have a special
they have a whole section for that. It's been crazy as far as some of those, and just the sheer volume that we've seen on it this season. All right, let's pick up where we left off. I want to go back to 2021 before we get to this week's unveiling of the City Connects. And I think this is the last one of this season. Is that right?
Yes.
Does that sound right? Okay. So let's go back to 2021. The very first one the very first team to debut theirs was the Diamondbacks. And they were paying homage to the Hispanic community there in Arizona with the Serpientes. And it's a very basic, the colors are bland, and the Serpientes is kind of cool, but nothing really big, not anything too crazy. Red Sox, they had theirs in the yellow and blue, connected to the Boston Marathon, and they generally only wear those right around Patriots Day, maybe a few other days. One that I think stood out to me at the beginning is one of my favorites was the Cubs and their Wrigleyville. And the colors that are inspired by the Chicago city flag.
Right.
And their own colors. But I kind of like that dark coloring, and that the White Sox followed the Cubs with their South Side. And for a lot of people, they think that's the best one. from a lot of the lists I've seen of people ranking them. The Dodgers, as we know, is all blue. Start off the first season with Los Dodgers across the cap. They changed it back to the LA the very next season with the black bill and the Los Dodgers written on the side. I have that cap because I like that. I like that black brim and the bill. I mean, they pretty much wear those when Julio starts.
Yeah, and I wondered, I've heard some teams will let the pitchers pick the uniform. The Dodgers they have white and they have gray, and now they have the City Connect. Whereas other teams have, multiple things.
Well, that's the way it was with the Angels. You could pick if you were at home, you pick the white, or you pick the red, the alternate jersey.
Yeah.
Now they've got their City Connect. We'll get to them. Those came out last year. The Miami Marlins, which I've never seen them play in. I've seen pictures of it. I think I've seen them play in it once. And it's like a red jersey. Theirs is a tribute to the Cuban Sugar Kings team. It's all right. It's not great, but it's all right. And then we have I think they could have maintained this motif, but done it better. Is they wanted to pay homage to the fog and the Golden Gate Bridge.
It's a weird orange color for San Francisco. It just doesn't. I don't. It's strange. I don't. So it has a G on it, and then it's got the bridge on the side, but the numbers are they go from
the
orange to fog. Yeah.
And they I don't know if they've changed this, but they wear them on Tuesday home games, not Friday, not Saturday, Tuesday.
Yeah, just Tuesday. Yeah, why not?
Well, the Asterix only wear theirs on Monday home games, they say. So I really don't know what to do. 2022 came out with the Rockies. They wore them over this last weekend versus the Halos. Like I said, I don't mind the Rocky uniforms. They're green and white, but their hats just look like, they just, we forgot hats. Let's put a
patch on it.
And they're just not good. And to be perfectly honest, the Angels have the same idea with the white front and then the red back. The Rockies are the white front and the green back. On that, I don't like either one of those, regardless of what's on there. It's just wrong. Houston, they have a lot of the same colors as the old 70s, 80s Astros uniforms, but with Space City across on a dark colored uniform. I think for them that worked. And there was the H-Star logo that's in honor of Houston, and of course the Johnson Space Center being there. It's supposed to be kind of futuristic. The H on the hat kind of looks kind of cool. If I was going to get an Asterix hat, I think that's the one I would opt for. Kansas City, that's where we learned that Kansas City is the city of fountains. Had no idea.
Didn't know. So it did learn something from the City Connect.
Mm-hmm. The coloring's fine. It doesn't come off. I think the powder blues are better for them, but they get the darker color, and then they've got the fountain thing idea on the K and the C, but nothing to really get fired up about.
No.
I guess it's the Midwest. Everything's just kind of
Yeah, blah.
The Angels followed up Kansas City pretty much with a region.
Yes.
With the kind of a beach feel. I will say that after seeing some of these other ones, I don't feel as bad. I actually saw a sweatshirt the other day that had that A logo that they've got for the City Connect that actually looked okay. You're not going to find me wearing that logo anywhere, although it seems very, very popular.
Yeah.
But it took multiple volumes to explain what everything meant. And to me, the coolest part of it, you can't even see because it's tucked in. It's like the stuff in the back of the collar. The Brewers, or the Mikes, as I like to call them when they wear theirs, the across the front Blue Crew, somewhere in there, I guess there's a 414 blended in on the hat, which is the main area code for Milwaukee. And then, of course, MKE. The Padres. Now, get this. The last time that they did a change where they had the alternates, they made over $73,000 in their team store for that. For this one, these pastel or neon 80s colors, over $200,000 when they released them, people paid down there for this monstrosity.
That just shows you the bad taste
Explains
that they have in their team and uniforms.
That explains a lot. And this one actually came out earlier, I think, than most of these. I think this was the first one out in 2022. It'd be the Washington Nationals, which, once again, get it. Cherry blossoms during the spring, all in bloom. You see pictures of that a lot, especially in movies that are set in Washington, D.C. Awful uniform idea. The gray with flowers on it.
Yeah, it was. That was a miss.
That one was more than a miss. And then, as you were talking about before we went to the Wheel of IL, the 2023 teams, the Braves, the Rangers, the Mariners, the Reds, the Orioles, and that leads us to the latest reveal. And you had hinted at it, teased it last week and even the week before, that there was a picture came out, and you weren't feeling it based on the leaked picture. But now, as Paul Harvey would say, we know the rest of the story.
Yeah, I think these City Connects are probably the closest in what team came closest to fulfilling the assignment of connecting with their city. And I think the Pittsburgh Pirates have done that. The city of Pittsburgh is defined by two colors. All of their sports teams, the Penguins, the Steelers, the Pirates, black and gold. That is the Pittsburgh colors. And that's like, they're the only city where they all share the same colors. So I think when they started thinking about this, they're like, we have to go with it. So these uniforms, they will debut them against the Padres, and then they will wear them every remaining Friday home game, excluding Roberto Clemente Day on September 15th. It's a yellow jersey and black pants, and that is what the Pirates wore in Game 7 of the 1979 World Series. And then it's all about the details. The uniform features a custom print with the three core elements: the inverted Y, the asteroid, and the check, and the diamond shape inside of the squares references the Steel Mark logo, Pittsburgh, Steel City. It's the same icon.
Which you can still see on the side of the Steelers helmets.
Yes. The check, which is the square icon that houses the diamond shape, it plays off of Pittsburgh's city seal, and it's meant to evoke the idea of community. The inverted Ys represents the convergence of the Allegheny, the Monongahela, and the Ohio rivers.
Thus, the three rivers that they used to play in Three Rivers Stadium, because all three rivers converged right there at that spot.
That's right. And then additionally, inside of the PGH, which is on the front of the jersey, and within the numbers and the names on the black, is a pattern that can be located on the sides of the Three Sisters bridges that spans over the Allegheny, named for Roberto Clemente, Andy Warhol, and Rachel Carson. that connect downtown to the North Shore and PNC Park. So like Roberto Clemente, I think it goes to 7th Avenue, Andy Warhol, it's like 8th Avenue, and Rachel Carson's 9th Avenue. So it all connects that way. And the jock tag on the bottom of the jersey reads, "We bleed black and gold." And that's it. That is the jersey. It's nothing like spectacular, right? But when you read it, you're like, okay, I totally see where they're going with this. And they really did. Of all the teams, I really think fulfilled the assignment, because
They connected.
they did. They connected everything. And if they had tried to go with a different color, something totally off the wall, it wouldn't have fit, because, as I said, Pittsburgh is the only city in the United States that all their sports teams, all three of them, have the same colors.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. When I read it, I think that was the first thing I said was, before you told me what you thought about any of it, I said, yeah, I think you can put this one down as they understood the assignment.
Yeah.
And they really did. And you were very disappointed by that, because you like tearing apart these. But don't worry. So number one, bravo, Pittsburgh, and
Good
whoever was part of that committee that set this up. Out of all of them, I think I would buy a PGH, jersey, a Pittsburgh Pirates jersey in the City Connects. I think I would actually do that if I was going to. I did like what I saw there and the explanations, and it just made sense. And it made me feel like that if I lived there, I would want to rep that, because it would make it makes sense to be a part of my city if my city was Pittsburgh. It would just make me feel, I felt connected to Pittsburgh, and I've never even been there. So for you, though, you still have 10 more teams to be underwhelmed by. The A's, which I don't think we're going to see. I'm sure they were working on City Connects, but until all this is done, there's no need to put out an A City Connect. The Blue Jays, the Cardinals, the Guardians, the Mets, the Phillies, the Rays, the Tigers, the Twins, and the one team that I don't believe needs a City Connect, because I believe the jersey they wear now is the City Connect jersey, and that's the Yankees.
Right. Yeah, that one will be an interesting one. Yeah, I know. I said this will be my least favorite fashion report, because it was straightforward, to the point. The Pittsburgh Pirates get an A++ for their work on the City Connects.
So if you're watching, most of these, obviously they're only going to wear these at home. The Cubs typically do theirs on Friday home games. The White Sox wear them randomly. A lot of them are Fridays, like Baltimore's wearing theirs on Fridays. The Diamondbacks, theirs on Fridays. The Reds, the Royals, the Brewers, the Pirates, the Padres, Mariners, and Rangers. I'll wear them just on Fridays. The Nationals wear their Fridays and Saturday home games. Marlins also on Saturdays,
I
as
like
well as the Braves.
The Rockies are, they wear them on Saturday, but they wear them Wednesday and Saturday. So it's almost kind of like a laundry schedule.
Right. Yeah. Well, that way we can get them washed in between. And, the others, some of them, the Angels wear them at various home games. And then when the Angels wear their City Connects, there's their whole video package that whatever's on the board during the game is connected through the City Connects. Go ahead.
I was going to say, whoever runs the board in Anaheim, they also get an A++, because they have the best. They had a picture of Will Smith, who never smiles. Maybe once or twice you see him smile, and it said, Will Smith, who obviously does not get jiggy with it.
Yes.
So
And then
kudos
we talked about
to whoever runs that
Jonah
board.
Heim from the
Yes.
Rangers missing out on a chance to name his daughter Anna.
That's right.
And so at least they've been on that game.
Yes.
And hopefully the world gets to see a little more of it, and they find their way into the playoffs. And I think they'll be good as long as they don't wear City Connects.
An ode to the beaches of Southern California, which is what you were talking about. It's the surfboard, right?
Yep, that's the best part of it. But you can't see it.
Nope.
Tucked in.
Stitched on the inside of the left calf of the pant.
Tattooed on every player's arm, which is covered by the sleeve, because we've gone and made each player's body part of the City Connect.
That's right.
Could you imagine if every team did that and you got traded a few times? You'd have tattoos down your arm from each of the teams.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. All right, so City Connects. That's it. But I have lots more. I can't wait. It's like Christmas. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
I think next season we'll have to see how it plays out.
And that's right.
And that's it. We're going to call it a podcast, put the tarp on the field, and get ourselves ready to talk about this new week's games going on right now. We'll be back with you next Thursday, 1:10 start time, because it's always a day game. We start just like opening day normally starts on a Thursday, and a 1:10 start. So we will be back with you there, talk about what happened with the Dodgers, the Angels, and look at what's going on with the All-Star game results. And now we'll probably need to start looking too at the minors a little bit to see, especially with Dodgers and Angels, who's coming up, because they're using a lot of those guys.
They are. And then also, I think the draft will be, as we get closer to that, maybe we'll throw out some names on who are the potential, who's going to be number one.
Yep, we will do a little talking. If only I had like a really good relationship with Keith Law of The Athletic. He is the expert at all of this stuff. And we'll just have to check and see what he's saying and see if we can get some good ideas from what he writes about on The Athletic and the draft. So until then, don't forget to stop by our social media pages. We are on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. Don't forget to stop by the Fanatics page. We got a couple links on there, one for the Dodgers, one for the Angels. But once you're there, you can get you some LSU championship gear. You can get any of these City Connects that have been released, including the Pittsburgh one. Or if you like flowers on a gray uniform, the Washington Nationals might be for you. All of them available right there, and you help support the show when you do that. So we will be right back with you, like we said, next week. We can't wait for it to be there. Is it time? It will have to be like the Mervyn's commercial, where they're like, open, open, open. We're ready. Thursday.
That's right. We treat every week like it's opening day.
Exactly. So we'll see you next time on our next opening day. Don't forget to swing away.